Okay, what is going on, everyone? So I'm just out here for a walk in Dallas, Texas right now. I'm actually just vlogging on the cell phone. I got the little lapel mic on here. But yeah, Steph and I decided to come here kind of randomly on our way back to Florida. We actually had tickets to see Travis Scott in concert last night, so we checked that out. That was absolutely amazing, as usual. And I figured now would be as good a time as any to fill you guys in on a few of my travel tips. So how it is that I manage to stay on track with my training and my nutrition while I'm on the road or on vacation or what have you. And I should say right now I kind of have the worst of both worlds because not only on the road, I'm also feeling still kind of sick. So I'm not gonna cover the sick part in this video. I did a video last year, almost exactly the same time, where I covered that. So if you'd like to check it out, I'll have that linked in the description box below. And I'll also put it up here in the cards. But basically what I've been forced to do because of the sickness is take a few days off from the gym. And now that I've done that, I've been running an upper-lower split just for the last week. And that's something I'm gonna talk about. But I'm just gonna overlay a few clips from my last lower body workout yesterday. And after this, I'm gonna go for an upper body workout. So I'll overlay clips of those up here on the screen while I go through my tips. All right, so my first tip for training is to build trust in yourself and your ability to follow through with your program. So if you have a training program, I think you should stick to it, or at least to the best of your ability, while on vacation. And I'm gonna use my friend Pat as a perfect example of this. So there was a time when we were all in Florida on vacation, and we had just spent like 10 or 12 hours at Universal Studios, and then we had a 3 or 4 hour drive back home. We ended up getting back home at like 2 in the morning or something like that. And Rashaun, Steph, and myself were all like, okay, no training today, we're gone to bed, obviously. But my friend Pat, he got all of his stuff together, went straight to the gym without a word. And I feel like it's that level of dedication that has really allowed him to be as successful as he has been. And this was while he was at like 6 or 7% body fat or something like that. Another good example of this would be Dwayne Johnson, so The Rock. I remember reading in a magazine years ago that he kind of has this rule for himself that whenever he lands in a place, the first thing he does is bring his luggage back to the hotel, I guess, and then he goes straight to the gym, regardless of the time or what else he has going on. He may not still do that, but I thought that, again, that's really a testament to his level of dedication. Not everybody is gonna be able to do that. I feel like some of you might be like, okay, but what do we actually do in the real world? I'm not gonna go to the gym at 2 a.m. There's not even always a 24-hour gym available. So in that case, what I would say to do is to modify your training split, which is what I've had to do on this trip. So if you have a program, hopefully it has you in the gym 2 times a week. If you're not able to get all your training sessions in, like let's say you're running a push-pull leg split, you might still be able to maintain your weekly frequency by adjusting the split a little bit. So what I'd recommend doing is running an upper-lower split or a full body split so that even if you're not able to get all the sessions in, you can still hit every body part at least twice a week. So if you have 4 days that you can spend in the gym throughout the week, then an upper-lower would be good. If you only have 2 days, then you could do a full body split and still hit all of your muscle groups twice a week while only being in the gym twice a week. So if you can only get in the gym twice throughout your whole vacation, full body split is definitely the way to go. And the potential problem that you could run into on this is that you might not be able to get the same amount of weekly volume in those 2 sessions. So what I'd recommend doing is, if you know your workouts are gonna be a little bit shorter, is because you're not gonna be able to get as much volume in, you wanna prioritize intensity, which means you're gonna wanna be training closer to failure, and you're probably gonna wanna be taking more sets to failure. So if you're not able to get the volume in, make sure you at least have that intense level of effort there to create that same hypertrophic stimulus, or at least as close to it as you can be. So a third thing that I find to be super helpful when it comes to training is the use of autoregulation. So if you have a training program that calls for a certain weight or a percentage of your 1 rep max, I would try to tie that to some kind of corresponding RPE, or rate of perceived exertion. Usually you'll want to be somewhere in the 7 to 8 zone, and exactly what is an RPE of 7 or 8 on a day when you're training in your home gym might be totally different than what gives you an RPE of 7 or 8 when you're on the road. Because sometimes the travel can make your legs feel a little heavier, you might not have had the best sleep or what have you. So you don't really want to beat yourself up about that and allow yourself to complete the exercise with poor form or anything like that. What you want to do is auto-regulate the weight and just go according to how strong or how good you're feeling on that specific day, and you'll still get very similar, if not exactly the same results, because your level of effort will be more or less the same. Okay, so my first tip when it comes to diet and nutrition is to just in general give yourself more dietary flexibility than you would otherwise have. So let's say you're currently on a meal plan, then you might want to figure out what the macros are in that meal plan and just go off the meal plan while on your trip, but still hit the macros. If you're already tracking macros, you'll want to increase the flexibility of those macros by considering setting them up with ranges. So let's say you'd normally hit 200 grams of carbs per day. You might want to give yourself a range of like 175 up to 225 or something like that, so you have a little more wiggle room. Now, if you already have those ranges set up, then what you might want to do is just consider hitting a calorie target and just tracking protein, so have a minimum protein goal. And then on the other hand, you could just do intuitive eating, which is what I've been doing for the last few years, honestly, and just rely on your own appetite and internal hunger signals to determine when and how much to eat. And you can kind of use the scale as a metric for figuring out if you're in the right ballpark. So my second tip is going to be to always pre-plan. So whenever I go on a trip, I always make sure that I've got some protein powder and some protein bars packed with me. So I'm not going to be running short on protein or getting super hungry and overeating on a bunch of calorie-dense foods or something like that. Another kind of cool mini tip is to have a scoop of protein powder before you're going out for a big meal. This will help suppress your appetite, and it'll also help you make sure that you're hitting your protein goals for the day and cause you to not overeat too much while you're out. But just in general, packing snacks, when Steph and I get to the Airbnb, we always go get some groceries first, so we have meals that we can make so we don't rely too much on eating out and that sort of thing. So pre-planning is tip number 2. Tip number 3 is going to be to not sweat it too much if you do get off track. So if you're on vacation for say 3-4 days, or if it's a week or what have you, if you do happen to get off track, don't let that be an excuse for you to then stay off track after you get back home. It's often the case that you'll gain weight from water retention or just the different foods that you're eating. Your digestion might be a little bit different. Whatever the case may be, don't let that spike in weight really discourage you. As soon as you get back home, flip the switch back on and get right back on track. Chances are it was a good deal of water weight that you gained, and if you did gain a bit of fat because you were eating in a caloric surplus, chances are that energy balance will just take over again once you get back home. So if you go back to eating in your usual caloric deficit, then that fat will come right back off. If it does take a week or two, just be patient. Don't give up on it too quickly and throw the towel in. What's really going to make the difference is your habits that you set in place when you're home over the long term, and not that 1 or 2 weeks that you spent on vacation. So try to keep all that stuff in mind, or pick and choose from it what you feel like fits your circumstance the best. I'm gonna get ready, go grab some barbecue with Steph right now, and then I'm gonna hit an upper body workout. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave me a thumbs up if you found it to be helpful. Comment below if you have any travel tips of your own that I may have missed, so other people who are reading can learn as well. Don't forget to subscribe if you happen to be new to the channel, and I'll see you guys all here in the next video.
I get racks, Louis backpack on my back. I put the city on my back. I put the city on the map.